Hi, welcome to Plugged In, the official podcast of VG Culture HQ. I'm Morgan Lewis, your host, and for our inaugural episode, we have a very special guest, voice actress Jackie Lastra. Um,
Hello.
Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm really excited. We have some pretty awesome stuff to talk about. If you just take a moment and just tell us about yourself and some of the works that you've been in.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Jackie Lastra. I am a voice actress. Some of the things you may have seen me in are The Promised Neverland, The Rising of the Shield Hero. If you like video games, we have the Somnium Files that just came out this summer, and Crystar, which we'll be talking about both of those. Back to anime, because that's more of my area. We have Granblue Fantasy. We have oh, and One Punch Man. It just came out on Cartoon Network, so you can see me as Little Zenko, which is Metal Bat's little sister.
Awesome. That's cool. I didn't know that you were mainly anime. We met at Anime Expo
Right.
during the panel at
Hmm.
the community panel. God, I should have
Yes.
worn my ASET shirt.
That
But that
was
was
such a
how
fun panel.
I
They
know it was cool because I was running late and I wasn't sure if I would be able to make it, but I was really happy and it was a smaller group, so it was like more a little tight knit and Uchikoshi's awesome
Yeah,
and
everybody was so excited about it.
he was really really thankful for like everyone who turned out for that panel because there was
Hmm.
a bigger panel that happened like a day or so later, but everyone that was in that community panel. I think he mentioned it as kind of like family might not have been the word he used, but
Oh no, it
anyway,
is. It's a very
but it
tight
was
group, and everybody is very supportive of Uchikoshi's work, and they've been following him forever, ever since, 999, way back when, and even before. And they were all so anticipating this game. It was great to follow them hyped for the upcoming game that was coming out and watching all the videos and experiencing with them.
yeah, like I was surprised at how many people were like cosplaying and whatnot for various
It
characters,
still
and the
was.
game like wasn't even you know well it surprised me to see like so many females like dress up
Hmm.
and were like really involved because I mean I kind of know the scene, but um, more like 999 and whatnot is I think more geared towards a male get demographic, and so
I
it's
suppose.
some maybe I'm wrong on that.
Maybe.
Maybe
But I don't know. Girls like to overthink things, so we like to be logical.
yes, I'm
And we
very
can figure out Uchikoshi's schemes and his major twists.
yeah I have a lot of my theories with this game. It's
I
cool.
can't wait to hear
Actually,
your
I
theories.
am my first interaction with Uchikoshi was I'm actually friends with him on Facebook. And when I first started out my site in 2016, I gave I'm just honest. So like when I give games like tens, like I'm just like it's I didn't give Zero Time Dilemma a 10, but it was like a 9.7 or 9.8,
Oh my goodness.
something like that. But I gave I a 10. I gave
You did.
Crystar a 10 just cause, and I'm like I swear I'm not like a shill for Spike Chunsoft, but they just come out with such quality games.
They really
And
do.
I reached out to Uchikoshi and sent him a link to the article, and there's a quite a few like awards I gave the game, and
Hmm.
he wrote me back like this kind of long message, just the sweetest message in the world.
Oh,
It
that's
was so
awesome.
cool and so special. But
Oh,
yeah, it was really awesome. But moving on to just for a moment here, um,
yeah.
what, how did you get introduced to the part of you played one of the lead characters in the game,
Hmm.
um, Aset slash Iris slash Tessa? I
Many
usually say
names.
Iris, but Aset is popular term. How did you
hmm
get introduced to the part?
Well, I had already been working with the studio who was casting for that game. So I just got it any other way I would get an audition. The casting director sent me an audition and they
Hmm.
asked for me to read. They sent me the link to the Japanese voice announcing at a convention. I forget which convention it was, but it was in Japan.
Hmm.
And they sent a clip and a little like sides, audition sides, and then asked us to submit a singing sample as well. And I did, and I got it. And I jumped up and screamed and cried when I found out.
That's so cool. And your dancing like at the community panel was quite awesome as well.
That's right. I did learn the A-set dance and performed it and did not trip. That was like my main goal.
Yes,
I was just like, just don't trip, please.
I was very impressed. It
Thank you.
was very cool. So, how was it working with, there's a number of other voice actors involved in the project and, a lot of people involved in such a
hmm
massive project like that. What was it like
Yes.
working with them and of course with Uchikoshi? And was this one of like your first video game roles?
Um, it wasn't my first video game roles. It was my first like big lead as a video game.
Okay.
Um, but working in the setting, unfortunately, I never actually got to work with Uchikoshi.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I did have an amazing team that was working with us. We had our director, Chris Faya. We had our engineer, our devoted engineer, JP. We had our translator, who, wow, he also translated the song. And that is an incredible feat in and of itself. And he is also the voice behind Oda's Twitter account.
Oh,
And that's,
yeah, I
yeah,
know who you're
Alex
talking to.
Flag.
I've met him. He's really
hmm
cool.
He was in there every day, as well as Kazu. Kazu was wonderful. Kazu, oh my God, Kazu, what is your last name? I don't know. I'm sorry. I love you. I don't remember your last name at this moment. Hopefully, we can tag it in later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they were with us. The recording process took 2 months of
Hmm.
very long hours. I think Greg shouted out that he was in the studio one time for 14 hours, which for a voice actor, that is a very, very long session.
Yeah.
They try to like cap us off at like 4.
Okay.
So, but
Okay.
everybody pushed through it and it was an amazing experience and I loved it.
And the end result speaks for itself.
I really enjoyed the game. It really came together. The YouTube videos were a thing I did not see coming and
Yeah, I was gonna
I
ask about
was
that.
blown away from that.
I think you told me you did the YouTube videos
Yes,
after the game. So
after everything was done.
did you incorporate like in your performance like anything like any subtleties from the game,
I
or did you try
tried
and stay
not
away
to.
from that? Okay.
Yeah, I tried not to. I tried to put, as the videos went on, there are
Mm-hmm.
certain arcs in the videos.
Yeah.
If you notice, like there's you catch it with like this is your idol video. That's like the end of one arc. And so as we were leading up to that video, they would tell me leave little hints. And
Mm-hmm.
so the performance changes slightly leading up to that one, but
Yeah.
not enough to give anything away,
Yeah.
except in that one video.
Okay. So what was your favorite? Do you have like a favorite part of the game
For playing
for
wise or
for
recording wise?
both, actually?
Hmm. Let's see. Playing wise, I'll do that one first.
Okay.
I loved Mizuki's arc. and finding out her relationship with Date. And that was just incredible because I didn't know a lot about that because
Mm-hmm.
we don't record together. We don't
Yeah.
really get to see each other's parts. So I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that was just beautiful. Another one, oh, was finding out just how horrible Date, why? I know it's not you, but it's you, and you ruined everything. And I don't want to give anything away, too much away, but uh I just that ending scene with Aiba and
That
the
really tugged at the heartstrings.
yes, I don't want to reveal too much, but
Yeah,
those
it's
of you who
okay.
have played the game, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was Aset's ending. Was it? I think you might know what scene I'm talking about with her and Date, and
Uh-huh.
that was, I'll admit, like I cried.
I didn't
That
cry during
was
that one. I cried at Hitomi's scene,
that was
but and oh my goodness, the end. I was bawling. I was bawling during the end credits.
mhm.
It it was a mess, and I was streaming, so everybody saw me.
Yeah, that's you know, there's so many incredible moments in the game. Like it's hard to like just like pick out like one, moment. I love Mizuki. I loved her dynamic with Date.
Hmm.
Especially like I'm not gonna try not to give anything away, but Mizuki's ending and you see her like she puts up a facade, but
Yes, she
her
does.
her like it was just it was so beautiful. I
Well,
really
she's gone through a lot of trauma,
Yeah, she
so she
has.
needs to build up those
I
walls.
mean, but man, her skills with what was it? A pipe?
Yeah.
You see, the one thing I love about I is that like it really differentiates itself from some of Uchikoshi's other works because there are a lot of moments of
Sure.
levity,
Hmm.
as opposed to just being like so super serious. Like
Oh yeah, I was
I
cracking up
really
that whole game.
appreciated. Yeah, there's some great moments of like humor. Um, okay, so this part is gonna be a spoiler because this is my theory on
Okay,
something.
spoiler alert.
So spoiler alert. So for next few minutes, if you don't want to be spoiled or have not played I, then skip forward about 5 or 6 minutes. About, I think.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. I'll list in the description
Okay.
when we have spoilers because I don't want to incidentally um spoil anyone. But
Right.
that ending when Date like when they swap bodies was God, Saito is so evil.
He's so awful.
And the performance though by I forget the voice actor who
Greg?
voiced Date. Yeah,
Greg
Greg,
Chin.
yes. Greg Chun.
Yes.
Um when he was playing Saito like and just did that complete like transformation, that was an incredible performance.
It was
Like
incredible.
the entire I just want to take a moment and say the entire English voice cast did such an incredible job,
They really did. Especially the
yourself
people who really
included.
got to play the multiple bodies, like
Yes.
Allegra Clark. Oh, her as boss when Saito is in her body. Oh, it's
Oh,
beautiful. She's so
when
evil. I loved
when
it.
I played when I played it when I was playing it for review, I actually I took that side, that branch initially, so I got to that point and I'm like,
Initially,
yeah, so I'm like,
how
what the heck
confusing.
is going on? And so then I got to the other side and I'm like, oh snap.
Yes. For anyone who hasn't played yet, I recommend left side first. It
Yes.
makes a lot more sense.
Yes. And two, like I was going in completely blind because when you review a game, um, you don't I don't like to use walkthroughs, but you don't have like
Right.
you can't like ask anyone like there was one part I was stuck on for a little while because I
Oh
couldn't
no.
it was in the Somnium realm. Oh, it was in Iris's the parody of Minecraft.
Oh yeah!
There's
Shovel Forge!
Shovel Forge, and there is a what you call it? There is a like there are two paths to take to unlock,
Hmm.
and one of
Oh
them
yes.
I couldn't I couldn't figure it out. I
Oh
eventually
no.
did.
Okay.
I eventually did, so I got through it. But with the Somnium Realm, what's really cool about that, like the game is like kind of like a visual novel, but then
Hmm.
like it also has like puzzles and some really wonderful gameplay, and
Yes.
so it gives the game a lot of variability, which is really cool and really enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
And it
I was
goes
I was
along
ready
with
for those puzzles with the Uchikoshi
yeah.
games. I was like, all
I
right, where
love
are they?
puzzles,
Goodness.
so I'm a puzzle person with
I was
being
I
a
was
beauty
not great
salesman.
at them, but I made it.
You made it. That's what counts.
That's right.
Um, so my going back just a moment, backtracking my theory. So spoiler alert again. Um, when Date switches bodies
Mhm.
again with Saito, and he remembers the other branches in the game. Um, and at one point he has a flashback. He remembers Mizuki in the hospital. He has a flash
Hmm.
of remembering what Iris said about parallel worlds. And my theory is that it was posed earlier of the possibility that by interfering in the dream world, you can change the real world.
Hmm.
And my theory is that throughout the game, as Date is navigating um, the Somnium realm, he's actually changing reality, if that makes
I would
sense.
love to believe that that's what's going on. I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't know,
It's
but
totally
and
possible.
I think someone actually asked, and this is what I love about Uchikoshi. Someone asked him about
Hmm.
that, and he said it's up to the player to decide.
That is definitely something that he would say.
Yeah.
For sure.
And one thing that was really cool was after like I talked to you, like I got his autograph again. He remembered me from the year before.
He is a sweetheart.
He
He is
really is, and
a very wonderful man.
he he was he's like, oh yeah, I remember you from on Twitter and Facebook, and I remember last year meeting you here, and that was really like very humbling. It's
That's
really cool.
awesome.
He's one of my favorite developers too. So you know, like the games he makes are just absolutely fantastic.
Hmm.
So I guess spoiler alert over. That's just my theory.
I like it.
You
That's a
like
good
it?
theory. And
Okay.
I did think of that as I was playing too. I'm just like, I wonder if he's actually affecting the timelines here and affecting what's happening in other worlds.
Yeah,
So you are
and
not alone in that theory.
yeah, it's you know, and it would really make so much sense for an
It
Uchikoshi game
would.
because it's just totally mind bending. Um, snap. So have you played any of his other games like 999 or
Just
just
999.
999?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What did you think of it?
Oh, I loved it.
You loved it?
Yes, I was totally. Well, when I first found out that I was going to be in a Uchikoshi game, And I kind of researched him and realized that there was this huge fan following. I was just like, okay, these people are really devoted and they love
Mhm.
his games. I have to see what all this is about. And so I went and I played 999 and was just like, "Oh, yeah, no, I get it now. This is awesome.
Yeah,
Brutal, but awesome."
after when he did the second one in the series, Virtue's Last Reward, they actually told him you have to tone this down. So
I
they
love
have
that.
instead they have like wristbands that inject I forget, maybe it's like an injection or something like that, but it's not like people aren't blowing up.
Oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
that's
And then
nice.
after that game, it didn't really sell particularly well in Japan, and
People wanted the
they
brutality.
they told Uchiko at the studio, they told Uchikoshi that he'd never make it again.
Oh,
Actually, and then it was the fans that made the third game in the series happen, and there's such a huge following in the West for his games,
yes.
and it was us that made it happen, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'd highly recommend playing the second two if you really enjoyed the first one.
I definitely will
And then
eventually. It is
eventually,
on my
yeah,
list.
yeah. So so moving on to another game you were recently in, Crystar.
Yes. Also Spike Jonze.
Crystar. Yes, Spike Chunsoft. I also want to mention real quick, since we just talked about Spike Chunsoft is having the very first Nintendo eShop sale. So
Ooh,
until February 10th, um, Somnium Files is 40% off.
nice.
And a bunch of their
Get it.
other titles, like Steins Gate Elite is 80% off.
I saw that.
I mean, I reviewed it, so
Oh, okay.
on
So
the
you've already.
Switch. So, and I already bought Steins Gate Zero to play it on the Switch, but that's also on sale. But it's very cool. So if any of you haven't played Somnium Files, this is like the perfect time to pick it up.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, 40% off. Come on.
40% off, even if it goes in your backlog.
That's
Um,
right. You might as well get it now and play
which
it eventually.
yeah, which ironically, I write about games. I don't play so much. I do. I
You're too busy.
still really enjoy them, but it's really time consuming. Like
Oh, yeah.
building a brand and infrastructure for a site. Like finally, I'm so glad to have you on for our very first episode of podcast. It's very special. Um, and it took me 4 years to get to the point where I could do like YouTube because it's building and I've built everything from the ground up. My traffic
It's
levels are
impressive.
really strong, and well, thank you. And and also my Spike Chunsoft reviews always do so well. I
Well,
still
they're
get
good.
I still get hits on my Crystar review, which is surprising because it came out a while ago. But
It did. But it's
on
a good game. People still playing it.
yeah, on to Crystar. Was
Yes.
that a similar audition process?
Yeah. No singing though.
So no singing.
But no singing. But when I got the audition sample for Pheles, it was just like a little sound bite and then a picture of her and the sides. And I heard the Japanese voice and oh, I was so inspired to just go like absolutely crazy with her audition. Like she did such a good job with it.
Hmm.
And so I tried a voice that I've never knew I could really do
Hmm.
and kind of went with it and was just like, I don't know, maybe we'll try it. They might love it, they might hate it. And turns out I got it and played
Yay.
my first villain role.
Yeah, what I thought was really awesome, like going from Somnium Files and then going to Crystar. And actually going to the Crystar panel is like I didn't know about the game before that. And
Oh,
going to the
really?
panel was like and hearing the developer talk about the director talk about the game and catharsis as being like the major theme, and catharsis, like I've been talking about catharsis for like 15 years. So I was like instantly in the talk of like mythology, like, and philosophy, it's all intertwined. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll link my review in the description, shameless plug, but
Do it!
I go into pretty I had some of like the voice actors retweet out my review and read it and was like, you need to read this like review because it goes really in depth, and it's a really great overview of the references to Greek mythology
Mm-hmm.
and philosophy and whatnot.
Yeah,
And
there's a lot of little hidden things in there. There's
yeah, it's very cool. And I also like you're going from Somnium Files to Crystar with your two performances, looking at them like side
a
by
little
side.
different.
Like I was really, really impressed by your versatility as a voice actor. Um, I thought like because like sometimes you'll you'll recognize like voices over multiple
Right.
projects, but like I could absolutely not tell it was you at all. And it
Well,
was
thank
just
you.
you did such a great job. But so playing the game, what well, I guess what are your thoughts on it? I guess after from the maybe from the perspective of both, voicing your character, which in this part was more of not one of the leads per
Right.
se, um, as opposed to Somnium Files, and then also like the experience of playing the game.
Well, with this game, when I went to play it, since I wasn't one of the leads, I knew even less of the story going into it.
Yeah.
So I really got to play that game with completely fresh eyes. I knew what I said, and I knew
Mm-hmm.
what Memphis said because we were always on screen together,
Yeah.
but I didn't know anything about the story. And this is going to sound really dumb, but even though it was a game called Crystar, I did not expect to cry that much. Um, that game was brutal. It touched a lot of parts.
Mm-hmm.
There's backstories are just crushing, and
Yeah.
every single one of them got me. And it's just a beautiful game. The worlds are incredible. The outfits, the character design is so fun. I would really one day love to cosplay Pheles or Felice, I'm sorry. I always read her as Pheles because I never had to hear anybody call me that.
Yeah.
And then when I'm playing the game, I'm like, oh, her name is
Oh.
Felice. Oops. Um, but anyways, but no, it's a beautiful game, and I'm really happy to have been a part of it. And you should play it, but be prepared to play something happy immediately afterwards.
Yeah. It's I've always been like obsessed with the idea of like catharsis. I mentioned that a couple of times. But like it really does like well one, it really I use this terminology a lot. It really does like tug at the heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. And when you cry, it's not necessarily always out of sadness or happiness. Sometimes
Right.
it's just like
It's just a
what I said,
release of
like
emotion.
an emotional release. And that was, like I felt that way at certain points in
Oh, for sure.
Crystar.
It helped you work through each emotion,
Yeah,
I feel like.
and with Crystar, what one of the reasons why writing about it was so like it was I think it's the best thing I've ever written, but it was the most challenging because it was very
Sometimes
personal
the
to
best things
me
are.
because yeah, when you're pushed like kind of to your limit and something's like really like a passion piece like and I'm a biggest critic.
Of
So like
course.
I'm absolutely brutal. Like I will tear my stuff apart and put it back together. And
Well, stop
sometimes
that. Be
sometimes
nicer.
well no with the editing process of
Okay.
but sometimes I need people to be like, okay, stop. It's good. It's really good. It's good enough. You can stop now. But it because of my experience in clinical mental health and wanting to go into that and use gaming as like a tool um for like treatment, which I think personally is a great idea.
Hmm.
Um but um Crystar really it one there's no game like it in my opinion. It is
No,
so
not that I've
unique
encountered.
and it really encapsulated everything that I wanted in a game to be able to use as a tool for as one of the tools for potential treatment.
Hmm.
Just to give that like emotional release as we were kind of touching upon. So yeah, but it's a really great game, and you gave a fantastic performance.
Thank you.
Um, so we can move along to some of your other roles. You said that you were primarily do anime.
Hmm.
I've seen. I didn't know that you were Connie in The Promised Neverland.
Yes, yes.
And oh,
Poor little Connie.
before we yeah, I know. Before we move on, I just want to say something like when I first like I usually like I do know like not a ton, but a decent amount of Japanese because I took it in college.
Hmm.
And I usually don't play with like the English voices, but
Oh,
after I met you at Anime Expo, like I've been playing the English versions of like all the
no
games that I've been
way.
playing. Yeah. Like you kind of like after meeting you, it's like, well, you know what? Maybe I should like give it another go.
Oh,
And
thanks.
they're really like I think that over the years like voice acting like for like video games, anime or whatnot has really come a long way.
Oh, absolutely. It's as the industry develops, we find different ways to attack a script and
Yeah.
themes change.
Mm-hmm.
Everything changes over the years, and I think we're really learning to adapt, and everyone's finally getting, or the video game community is finally getting the attention it deserves.
Yeah. So I wanted to say thank you because you kind of
Thank
introduced me
you for
to a
coming to the
whole new
dark
world
side.
or the light side, depending on your point of view.
Eh,
Light side, dark
either
side.
way.
Huh. Um. So what are you mentioned like some of your other anime roles? Poor Connie. I love that series.
It's so good.
It is. It really
It's
is.
so dark. It is so good.
I know. Oh,
Not for the
so
faint of heart.
yeah, no, definitely not. Um, so what are some of the other roles you've um that you've played? And I know
Mm.
that there are a number of shows that you've been a part of that are currently airing on
Yes.
Toonami.
Hmm.
And so if you can kind of let us know which ones at maybe
Sure.
at one point
Um,
I
on
remember.
Toonami, we have Sword Art Online Alicization, where I play Selka, Alice's little sister. And the second season just came out, so that's super exciting. Gets really intense. One Punch Man season 2 is also on Toonami. I'm not sure what times these air, so pardon me not plugging that,
You know, I
but
can I can put that in the description.
perfect. So on One Punch Man, I play Zenko, like I said, Metal Bat's little sister. I think that's all on Cartoon Network right now. On Disney, you can see me as Nika in Beyblade Burst Turbo.
Okay.
I think that's all that's airing on actual cable right now, but you can also catch me as Melty in The Rising of the Shield Hero. You can
Nice.
see Netflix is playing Granblue Fantasy right now, where I play Io in my first anime role. Funky little Io. Oh, I guess Promised Neverland is on Toonami as well. They might be doing reruns. What else? I'm really bad at remembering my characters.
That's okay.
Oh, Shopkins. I play Minty Paws. And
So
I've got some others that are coming out that I can't tell you about yet.
yeah, no, that's totally fine. Um, we're very excited for you. I think you know you're really one of the real up and coming voice actors in
Thank
the
you.
industry. So really excited to see you know where where you go from here.
I am too. It's a
Yeah,
mystery. I have no idea.
yeah. It's exciting though. It really
Mhm.
is. You do wonderful work. Do you have a favorite anime character that you've voiced?
That I voiced? Hmm. Io was very fun to voice.
Okay.
Because she's a little wizard, and it was my first anime role, so she's very dear to my heart.
Yes.
And I relate a lot to her, because I can be a brat sometimes. And I've always wanted to be magical. That's my main goal. One day I'm gonna be a magical girl. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I remember. I think you have that on your Twitter.
Yes, on my
Magical
Twitter.
girl.
Actress, singer, magical girl. Mm-hmm.
Do you have outside of the roles that the anime series that you've been a part of and the roles that you've partaken in,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of, well, I see Sailor Moon in the background and I think
Yes.
some other things. What are some of, what's your favorite anime series? And you can name a couple because I know it's really hard to
Yes.
just nail down one. And do you have like a specific character that is, you know, your favorite?
Mm. All right, so I'll go through series first
Okay.
because that's my easiest. Sailor Moon's my number one, of course, followed by Full Moon wo Sagashite, Code Geass.
Oh,
Love Code Geass.
that is like my favorite. I
Love
think
it.
one of my
You can't see it,
favorites.
but directly behind the camera is a giant Code Geass wall scroll. But I love it.
Have you
Um,
ever? Oh, sorry.
no,
I
no, go
want to
ahead.
interrupt. Have you ever heard of a series? Like I like a lot of stuff that's somewhat obscure that people have generally never heard of.
That's cool.
Sadly, but it's really some really good stuff. There's so many good series out there. Have you ever heard of Noain?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard
you
of it.
have
I haven't seen
heard
it.
of it.
I haven't seen it, but I do know of it.
I highly recommend it. Like Funimation finally got like the rights to distribute it, and it's I love it. I think it's a really beautiful story, so I highly recommend it.
Okay, I will. I will definitely add it to the list.
I always like to try and introduce people to Noain because it's not really well known, but it's just it's so good.
All right,
But
I'll check it out.
okay,
All right.
okay,
What are some others? Anything by Clamp,
Clamp,
Tsubasa Chronicles, Chobits. But let's see. My favorite character to play is she has to be a magical girl. She has to be spunky.
of course.
I think, I wasn't a big fan of Sailor Minimoon growing up,
Hmm.
but I think that if I were to play a character, she would definitely represent someone who I would click with. She's just a brat and feisty, but loving and will save her friends in a pinch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. God, I got a press invite. I went to see. It's about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. Uh, One of the older Sailor Moon films. They
Hmm.
re-released it in America because I watched Crystal. Right? Is it Sailor Moon Crystal?
Yeah, the newest one.
Yeah, the
The
newest one. I watched that. And I mean, I probably watched the older one when I was younger. I think that was on Cartoon Network because
hmm
back in the day, like
Yes.
I was I was alive when cartoon. I'm kind of giving away my age, but when I lived in New Jersey, that's where I'm from originally. Um, we Cartoon Network like started up, so I was watching stuff like well, probably Sailor Moon, but like Gotcha Man or back then like the American version G Force, I think it
Right.
was. Um, and But then we moved to Florida when I was 10 or 9.5, and they didn't have Cartoon Network there. It was so
No,
sad. So
that's so sad.
it took like 2 years until they had Cartoon Network, and by then they weren't airing them anymore. It was so sad,
I'm
but
so sorry.
it's
That's
okay.
terrible.
But I really like Code Geass. I find to just be I love it.
Oh,
It's
it's
just like
wonderful.
I always kind of explain it as like I know like everyone I kind of compare it a little bit to Death Note. I
Okay.
don't, but Lelouch is kind of like I like him. He does all these
Oh
terrible
yeah.
things,
He
but
does terrible things, but for the right reasons.
he does, and he's a very dynamic character,
Hmm
and it's kind of similar to Death Note because they both have the power to like kind of like
The absolute power.
absolute power to off people.
Yeah.
Or in Lelouch is well he uses it quite a bit to off people, but um absolute submission. But what I find really awesome about Code Geass is that, and Lelouch's characters, that scene in the world of C. Um and he talks about you know, there's a whole scene of him, talking about. I think it's God. I know the lines in Japanese, but I don't remember them in English. But he basically like he wishes for the future. Like
Mhm.
Lelouch is a character that he like when that like his final scene with Sneasel, he's like previous emperor, his father, longed for the past. You seek the present, but I want the future.
Right.
And I just find that to be like, I can really relate to that
hmm
because I'm someone who's always like, I'm very driven and always looking, kind of moving forward instead of stagnating. And
Right.
I feel like Lelouch kind of embodies that. He's probably my favorite anime character. But then series wise, I don't know. There's so many.
I know.
So many. And I don't own nearly as much as I want.
There's a lot out
Um,
there.
but I would say I'll say a few. Um, I really like Noain. I think it's a really wonderful series. Um, it's not one of my favorites. I still have well, season 2 is coming out soon, but
Oh, good.
Fruit
Oh,
Baskets.
yeah, that's a great one.
I really like it. I never saw the first one, but I'm really
I saw the first one, and it's
enjoying
it's
it.
very, very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever heard of Ergo Proxy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Um, and then, God, I remember like back in 2004, 2000, it was in 2005, Ergo Proxy, Noain, and Eureka 7 were all airing at the same time.
Yup.
And I was watching that like, well, I was I torrented them because back then there was no other way to. I know, but I don't do that anymore. I buy the official
Okay.
releases and I have a Crunchyroll membership and
Right.
Netflix and everything because now they make it so much more like
It's very
it's more
accessible.
accessible. Back then it wasn't.
Right. And you have Funimation streaming, Crunchyroll
Yeah,
streaming, Netflix is doing a ton of anime. Even Amazon has a decent selection.
they do.
Hulu's all right.
Yeah,
It's becoming a lot more mainstream, and it's really amazing to see how the industry's changing over the years.
yeah. And then I love what you call it. Well, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Of
That
course.
was yeah, it's a
Have you watched the
classic.
redub?
The redub,
Yeah,
I have not.
it's on Netflix. It's good.
Yes, I you know my favorite song actually is "Fly Me to the Moon,"
I
and
love
I'm
that song.
very sad that they don't have
They
it
did take it
in.
out. Mm-hmm.
But there's one like I'm very attentive to detail. So there is there's one scene where like Kaji and he's my favorite character in Evangelion. I was saddened that in the second rebuild that his like they gave I guess her name is Mari.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they kind of gave her that scene in the water, like encouraging him to go back or whatever. That
Hmm.
was Kaji's kind of moment to shine. His role was kind of reduced, which yeah, it happens. They had to
Yeah, it
condense some
happens.
things. But what was I saying before? Yeah, I love Evangelion and but with Find Me in the Moon, yeah, there's a scene with Kaji and Shinji in the like where they have like not in the nerve headquarters where they have like all like the vending machines and stuff.
Hmm.
And they actually forgot to take like Fly Me to the Moon is playing like
Oh,
over a song
really?
and it's still there.
That's funny.
So I wonder,
Interesting.
yeah,
I didn't catch that.
I maybe I maybe shouldn't have said it because maybe now they'll take it
No, it's
out.
fine.
I don't want them to take it out. I used to play trumpet, and so we played that in jazz band. It became like my favorite song. At my sister's wedding, my mom got them to the band to play "Find Me the Moon." It was like Morgan, let's dance to "Find Me the Moon." But and then Full Metal Alchemist, I think, is really
Oh, yeah, that's a
um,
great series.
I like both, but Brotherhood is a better adaptation of the source
Oh, of the
material.
manga, right?
Yeah,
It's supposed to be the direct adaptation.
yeah, yeah. They kind of skipped over some things that they already covered in the first one, but it
Okay, that makes
doesn't
sense.
really make a huge difference. Um, so we've touched on anime kind
Hmm.
of extensively. So video game wise, video games that you have not been a part of, like I know that I'll plug this here for you. You've been streaming a number of games
Yes,
on your Twitch channel. Is that
I have.
something is that something that you've just kind of started recently?
Yes, it started with I actually.
Okay.
Since I got to know a lot of the people from the Discord, I decided, what better way to share this with all of the people than to play it with them. And I had such an incredible time playing with everyone that
Mm-hmm.
I decided to just keep doing it. I
Mm-hmm.
never intended to, but I kind of loved doing it. So I just kept doing it, and we still do it every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
Okay. I'll put
And
that in the
we,
description too and the link to it.
yeah. And to get info on if our times change at all, you can also join our Discord where we just talk nonsense and also video games.
That's the I Discord, right?
Actually, I have my own
You
personal
you
Discord
have your
now.
own personal one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm part of the I Discord, and the community in there is
Oh,
really
it's
the like
amazing.
it's just
So supportive.
yes, they're awesome. Um, what are some of your favorite video games that both modern and some games that you like older games that you grew up with?
Mm. Well, more modern ones, definitely Kingdom Hearts
Okay.
is my top. Then Final Fantasy. Probably story-wise, I like Final Fantasy X the best, but gameplay-wise, I really like 13.
You know what?
Everybody,
I wrote an article. I wrote an article like because like I have I have very strong opinions, and sometimes people don't like them,
oh no.
and they try and say it's like clickbait or whatever, but it's not because I formulate an argument. You can agree or
Mhm.
disagree. I don't care. I like to have discussions with people about stuff like that, right?
Right.
I really love the 13 trilogy. I think that it's a really beautiful story.
It
And I
was.
said that I actually think that of the 2010s, which actually didn't have too many trilogies, that I said that it was
Yeah.
the best trilogy of the decade, which people did not got very mad at me for. I
Yeah, I
got a
always
lot
get
of
a lot of backlash when I say that I like that game.
13 though is I loved it, and I love 10 too, so that's cool.
But um but yeah, those are my favorite for old school games. I mean, is Pokemon old school yet? I don't know. We can go farther back.
Which one?
Like the first one, like Red Blue.
Yeah, I remember middle school, like people would cuz like people would go and when I think I was in middle school when it came out, maybe a little younger. I don't know. But
I'm
people
not
like
gonna
when it
say when I
became
when
yeah,
you were
no,
around.
I'll let people guess. I'm not. But people say I look like I'm like 24, so I always take that as a compliment, but obviously. But I mean, I've already hinted at my age, so whatever. But people would come like it was it was crazy. People would come before school and
Mm-hmm.
have their link cables and would be like trading and bringing in their systems like to school.
Oh yeah,
And it was just
there was a
like,
huge shockwave to the culture.
yeah, I would consider it kind of old school though.
Okay, if we're going further back, I really like. I mean, I love Mario, of course.
Yeah.
I really liked playing the first Final Fantasy on like NES way back in the day. Um, Loved that game. Um, there was I forget what it was called, but it was on the NES and it was the Ninja Turtles game.
Oh,
I
was
don't
it?
remember what the actual
Wait,
name was, but man, I love that game.
there was there was one which was this kind of like and but they came out with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, which
Mhm.
was like really like for the NES, which was really good. And then on Super Nintendo, they came out with Turtles in Time.
I didn't play that one.
Okay, it was really good, but I think you might be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Okay, I think you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to go pretty soon anyway, so I guess we
Okay.
should start wrapping up
Yeah, no,
anyways.
we'll wrap up. It's fine. I was so well, first and foremost, like thank you so much for coming on and being a part of our
Yeah,
very first episode. It's been an absolute pleasure. Really enjoy talking to you about myriad
thank
of
you.
different topics, and you're
Yeah, this was fun.
always
I'm so glad we got to talk
yeah.
about all this.
And in the future, if you ever want to come on and promote like any other like projects that you have coming up or anything like that, or just want to chat, we're kind of building a really strong brand, and so uh, you're more than welcome to come back. It
Thank
was
you.
a
I
real
appreciate
pleasure,
that.
and it was really cool meeting you at Anime Expo. It was like so random.
I know.
I just like came up to you. I was just like, hey, but that gave us this opportunity. So very
Absolutely.
thankful.
It was
But
so awesome.
yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and
Thank you for having me.
best of luck on your future endeavors and the projects that you can't announce yet.
Thank you. And I
Um,
look forward to reading all of your reviews as well.
Thank you. And I
Yeah.
always appreciate when like the feedback like that you've given me. It's been really cool. Like it's been really sweet. Thank you so much
Yeah, of
for
course.
that. And you know, we're gonna have links in the description of
Yes.
everything.
Thanks.
Um and what game are you real quick, what game are you currently streaming?
Currently, I'm streaming Nier
Near.
for the
Okay.
first time
Okay.
playing. So,
Awesome. Well, I'd encourage everyone to check that out because Nier is a really awesome game, and I think like you attract a really awesome community as well.
thank you.
So
Try.
it'll be really enjoyable. But that's all I got. But thank you so much again, and we're gonna try and have episodes every week. So thanks for tuning in to Plugged In, and we'll see you soon.